and interruptions to be fixed or avoided. It sounds harsh, but how often do we view these nameless faces in that way? After all, we have our own problems. And oftentimes, those nameless faces, their own actions are what led them to be in that situation in the first place. A memory came to mind when I posed that same question to myself. When I used to work for the telephone company, I traveled New Mexico a lot. And there was a Walmart in Hobbs, New Mexico that was notorious for being rampant with beggars and drug addicts. And sure enough, I was there once, and such a person came to the window of my vehicle. I look back at that now very shamefully. I didn't pity this person. I saw them as a nuisance. I wasn't going to give them money because I was sure he was just going to turn around and buy more drugs or alcohol with it. I was in a hurry to get my job done, and he was interrupting and preventing me from getting that job done. Now, of course, I know now it would have taken me a few minutes to help that man. Maybe not with money, but with food or water, both of which he also needed. So I ask again, what did Jesus see when he looked into those same crowds? When he looked upon people who were just as downtrodden as that man, what did he see? Jesus saw souls. He saw pain and he saw need. He saw people, and he had compassion on them. When many people hear the word compassion, I think the first two words they think of are sympathy and pity. To have compassion is to sympathize and share in someone's pain. But this is not the compassion that is being talked about in Matthew. No, Jesus felt true compassion. Not a compassion born of pity or sympathy, but of love. Jesus was deeply moved by the suffering he witnessed, a stirring inside his very soul. Think of someone you loved loved very deeply. Has there ever been a time where you have seen that person in true anguish and pain? For me, I think of my son. Every parent knows that their child has several different cries in their arsenal. They've got a hungry cry, an uncomfortable cry, an angry, throwing a fit cry, and so on. They've got a cry for everything. However, there's one cry that is different from all the others. The truly distressed cry. When he is crying out for his mom or his dad specifically, for comfort, for love. This cry stirs my heart. Especially when we got back from the NICU, a new father, I had never heard that cry before. The first time I heard it, it actually made me ill. I was sick to my stomach. It stirred me so much. And this is the compassion I'm talking about. This is the kind of compassion that Jesus is feeling and the compassion that he calls for us to have for others. And compassion like this can only be achieved by seeing people the same way that God sees them. God's reaction in this passage shows how he sees people. When looking out at a crowd of people full of sin, he is not angry. He's not frustrated. He isn't disgusted by what he sees. He sees them instead as lost sheep. And his first response is loving compassion. These people that Jesus is talking about are worn down. They're oppressed and exhausted, abused by life. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? The crowd Jesus speaks of has not changed a day. Our people today are crushed by anxiety, burdened by guilt, wounded by relationships. They're searching for meaning, just like the crowds in Jesus' time. They are spiritually lost. They are sheep without a shepherd. It is this reason exactly that Jesus condemns the religious leaders of the time. They neglected the flock. While the crowds back then were religiously active, they were spiritually neglected and forsaken. Jesus tells his disciples, upon seeing this, that the harvest is plentiful. He sees a vast number of people who are ready for the Lord's work. The only problem is there's not enough workers to gather them. So he tells his disciples to pray to the Lord of the harvest to send workers into the field. Now, we see that it's in Matthew 10 that the 12 are sent out into the world to minister to Israel. They are the first workers sent out by God, an ironic answer to their own prayer for laborers. It almost feels more like they're being voluntold. Jesus tells them to go to God and pray for harvesters, and God goes, oh, looky here, 12 people have volunteered to be harvesters. But verse 38, when he tells them to pray, could have another possible meaning. Perhaps the people that Jesus had the disciples praying for are sitting right here, right now. They're all across the nation, all across the world, worshiping and gathering right now. So it's time for us to go into the fields. But before we do, I have to ask again, do you feel compassion when you look at them? All of them. Are you seeing the world in red or blue colored lenses? When you see the sin of others, are you angry and disgusted? Or are you pained by their suffering? Are you loving as God called you to? How can we gather from this harvest if our hearts are still made of stone? We, as Christians, understand that we were made in God's image. But we can be so quick to forget that same fact about other people. Jesus does not judge our character, or our souls based on our sin. So why should we do the same to others? We are called to a higher standard. And not a standard that elevates us as Christians. The standard we're called to elevates all others before us. Because the compassion that Jesus calls us to is born of genuine love for your fellow man. How then? How do we love so deeply another person, a person we don't even know? There are people in this world who have done terrible things. People that have hurt us deeply. There are people who hate us for who we are and what we believe, who condemn us to ridicule and sometimes even violence. But we are called to love them. So how? And the answer is to follow him. Because there is the man of love and compassion. And while you condemn another for politics or belief or denomination, life choices, there he is. Take up your cross and follow him. Is it easier to drive past the guy begging outside a Walmart? Yeah, it is. Is it compassionate? Is it right? I have asked you all to police yourselves before, but now it is more important than ever. Because this is the most important thing you will do in your faith. To walk with God as he changes your heart from stone to flesh. You will feel frustrated and angry with people, but allowing it to go unchecked is a mistake, a grave mistake. When you curse someone for cutting you off, do you apologize? Do you feel remorse? That anger, although it's so fleeting and seems so minuscule, you are hurting yourself and you're hurting others with that anger and that frustration, with that disgust when you look upon someone's life choices. I ask that you then force yourself sometimes to apologize. You say sorry to God, and you say sorry to them. Though they may not be here to hear it, it's no less important. That person that you turn a nose up at because of their denomination, their political belief, that is a person made in the image of your Lord. That is a brother or a sister, a child of God. The mindset of compassion will change your lives, and more importantly, it'll change other people's lives. So, I ask that you look at others and feel that love and compassion that Jesus does. Police yourselves. When you look at that drug addict on the street, are you disgusted? You say, well, that guy's life choices, that got him there. Or are you pained by his suffering? The same way you'd be pained by your own son in that same situation, your own daughter. That's your brother, that's your sister, and they're suffering. We have to have this change of mindset if we're going to go out and gather. It is our duty as Christians and as a church to go out and gather. So do it. For a small church like ours, it is vital that we do this. Our church depends on your compassion and your desire to bring others to Christ. Without a mentality, without a heart of compassion, a lifestyle of true love without judgment, why are we even here? The fields are all around you. They're in this room. They're in your homes. They're at your work, the grocery store, the bank. Go out and gather. All are welcome in this space. So tell them to come as they are. Gather indiscriminately and bring them so that we can show them what it is to live as a Christian, to live and to love. I was called to this church, and you all accepted me to this church for this reason alone. I'm not here just to preach and fill a pulpit. I'm here so that we can go out and we can gather as Christ told us to. So let's proclaim the word and bring in the harvest. Please, bow your heads with me again. Lord, your call for us to change our hearts and to love, even though some of these people may not deserve love. You love us, though we do not deserve it. So help us. Change us so that we may better gather your harvest. Be with us as we undertake this monumental task. Amen.